Okay, it's the next day, and I am running the transformer, feeding the transformer 120 volts from this stat power inverter right here, from here, and the DC side of the inverters hooked to the battery terminals, positive, negative. The 120 volts goes into the primary, then the two secondaries in series come out, and I rectify it with a full wave bridge rectifier, just like yesterday. And it says 12.28 volts, checking from the meter of the DC out of the full wave bridge rectifier, which is interesting because across the battery right now, and it's really the same thing, the red and the black, the positive and negative from the full wave bridge rectifier hook up here, but right here it shows 11.92 volts DC. And it's been like this for an hour. This used to be 12.27. Well, it's just gone up just a 0.01. And this used to be 11.91, and it's gone up 0.01. Not that that means much. So, when I disconnect this ground, it's going to jump up to 22 volts, just like yesterday, the anomalous thing. Why would this full wave bridge rectifier make so much more voltage? Because, okay, so watch. I take this off. 24, it's even more today, 24.9. That's what's the voltage coming in here, okay? And look, when I take this off and I get all this voltage, now the battery's jumped up to 12.01. And it started out, I took the battery voltage before I did anything, and it was 12.10. So this will be interesting. I'm going to let it sit for a while to see if it's going to bounce, the battery's going to bounce back up to 12.10, and I think it will. So I will disconnect the inverter. Inverter's now disconnected, so it's just the battery. 12.06. I bet you if I wait a little bit, it'll bounce up. There it goes. It'll get up to where it started from. So what does all this mean? Well, I don't know. We have a strange thing with 25 volts coming out of this full wave bridge rectifier when only 16 volts will show up. Let's do that right now. Okay, I have the inverter unhooked, so forget about it. But right now this will do 16.4 volts coming out DC, coming out of here. Hook it up to the battery, it's all the way up to almost 25 volts, it says, coming out of here. That is very strange. Okay, so we're almost up to 12.10, where we started from. What I'm going to do now, as soon as this gets up to where it started from, I'm going to charge a second battery. Not just have this power, the battery power the inverter into here, and then this is going to go to a second battery, not looped back into the main one. What do I got here to charge with? Look at this mess. This used to be a clear bench. Let's take this battery here. Okay. There, it's up to 12.10. I'm gonna put it on pause. I bet you it'll be above 12.10 if I wait a little longer. Hold on a sec. Okay, well, it's at 12.1, so it's bounced back to where it was, so it's like it never used any energy from this battery to be running this transformer and looping itself back in. If it did have a charge, it's very slow charge. So I'm going to charge this battery now with this battery powering the inverter powering the primary of the transformer, the secondary of the transformer through a full wave bridge rectifier. It's going to charge this separate battery. And right now, this was at 12.31. There it is. That's the voltage before I start charging it. So let's see what happens now. Hold on a minute. Okay, here we go. This battery's powering the inverter. The inverter 120 volt output is powering the primary, the two secondaries in series, going through a full wave bridge rectifier and charging this battery here. Remember, this was 12.31 before I started. And it says 15.43 and it's dropping down. It started out at 16 before I turned the camera on. So this is what this battery is at in voltage now. And this big battery over here is dropping in voltage as it's powering the inverter, which is powering everything else and charging. So you see what the voltages are, and this still dropping over here, this battery, and this is doing what? Starting to be a little steady over here. Okay, I'm going to check current now, so hold on a sec. Okay, I got a good reading. The amount of current going into this battery being charged is 528 milliamps DC. 530, right around there. So that's what it's getting charged at. Now let's see what the current is going from the battery into that inverter over there. So hold on a sec. Okay, now I'm measuring the current from this battery, positive terminal, through the ammeter into the inverter. Seems a little bit less. So there's a little bit of a gain, you could say, as far as current going into this battery from what's being pulled out of here. It's Kind of weird how it's flashing like that. But that's the current input to the inverter from the battery. Right there. So, make of it what you will. This is what I'm seeing. This much into the inverter. Let's go back over and do what's coming into the battery again. Hold on. Okay, this is the current going into this battery to charge it. It's more steady than the other one. I'm going to go back and look at this one more time. Remember this, 521 milliamps. I'm using the same meter on each one. There's that 520. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is what's going in from the big battery into the inverter. See how it flashes down to about 400 sometimes. There, it did it again, 400, 400. Not sure what all that means. Hey, I'm going to put a 1 UF cap across the primary. Remember a couple days ago I got the draw down to 30 milliamps when I did that? Wonder what that'll do now. So I'm going to do that right now. Hold on. Okay, I put a 1 UF cap in parallel to the primary. Remember when I was using the grid, the 120 volt 60 hertz grid, it brought the draw from 190 down to 30 milliamps. So what do we got now? It seems to be keeping it. It's about the same, really. It seems to have dropped it down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put the meter now not from the battery to the inverter, but from the full wave bridge positive to the positive of the battery over here to see the charge now. So remember this, 499, 496, 490. It's definitely less. It used to be 520 or so being drawn on the input. So one moment. Okay, well, now I show nothing going into the battery over here when I put that 1 UF. So let's take the 1 UF off. What's going on here? Let's put this back on. Must be something wrong. Hold on a little bit. Okay, fixed it. Okay, now we got 546 or so going into the battery over here from the full wave bridge rectifier. This is the current going in. Remember, it was about 15 volts also, but whatever. So I'm going to take this off. Seems to be less current going in now. I'll put this in. No, now it's less current. So I'd say this doesn't make much difference. Maybe if I had a different value. Okay, this is without it. 1, 2, 3. With it. Seems a little bit less current with this 1 UF. So what have I proven? Not much. So I'm going to take this off one more time. Going into the battery to charge is 515 milliamps of current. All right. One moment. Coming out of the battery to run the inverter is 480, 470. It's flashing around. I guess that has to do with this weird transformer. I'm going to put this on there now, see if this kind of steadies out the current coming out. Staying under 500 now. Well, more current going into this battery than the current coming out of this battery, so whatever you want to say that means. Okay, thanks for watching.